Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's DC Funnel Hackers Live. I'm Frank Felker. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about Russell Brunson's secret formula. If you watched last week or you're at all familiar with ClickFunnels or funnel hacking or anything that I've been talking about in recent days, you'll be aware of Russell Brunson, who is the creator of ClickFunnels and also the creator of a lot of great training materials that I've been pouring through, a lot of videos and books and all kinds of things that he's offered that have really spoken to me personally. And that's why I created the meetup group DC Funnel Hackers. And that's why I'm doing these Webinar Jam Google Plus Hangouts. And so tonight, what I want to talk about is Russell's secret formula. Let me share my screen here first. And you're going to see a PDF that I've put together here. And now that that's up on the screen, I am going to make that full screen. And here we go, I think. I'm not sure why that's not working. Doesn't look full screen to me. Okay, folks. Okay. Well, I don't understand what's going on. Well, that's too bad. Not sure exactly what that's all about. Well, we're just going to have to do the best we can, aren't we? So, this is Russell's secret formula. Who, where, bait, where. Doesn't seem like much when you first look at it. But what he's talking about in the first who on the far left is who are you targeting? Who is your prime client profile is what I would call it. Who is your prospect? Where's the best place to fish for those fish? A very important second step after you've defined your client, and I'm going to go into a lot of detail about this. Right now, I'm just doing a quick overview of what Russell's secret formula is. I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail, so bear with me. After you've decided who it is that you're trying to reel in, the next important thing as a marketer is to figure out where you're going to find a lot of those people. Where is there a target-rich environment where you can throw out some bait and reel in a bunch of whoppers? And the question of the bait is, what is it that you're going to offer to these people to get them to be interested in you? What I would call an icebreaker. I've done a lot of training. I'm going to show you a formula, a model that I use here in just a moment. But what are you going to do to throw out there to garner a stranger's interest and get them to engage in an ongoing marketing conversation with you? Is it going to be a free ebook, or is it going to be a Google Plus Hangout like we're doing tonight? It's going to be a downloadable MP3 file, instant access to a video. What is it going to be? And then once you've hooked them, in Russell's vernacular here, where is it that you want to take them? And this is something that as you will see in the formulas or the models that I created in the past, and I still teach today, it's not something I have incorporated into my models, but I think it's a great idea. It's not just where do you want to take those people, but where do they want to go? Where is it that you can help them go? What can you help them achieve with your information products and services? So let me, with that sort of overview of Russell's secret formula in our minds, let's take a look now at what I created quite a number of years ago. I believe it was like in the early 1990s, something I call the customer factory marketing model. And you can see my course, How to Build a Customer Factory, is on Udemy. You run a search for How to Build a Customer Factory. I'm sure you'll find it there. You can also find me at thecustomerfactory.com. This is something that I put a lot of thought into and have done a lot of teaching about over the past 20 plus years. So the 4 steps in the customer factory marketing model are: design your customer, pick your process, tool it up, and turn it on. What I've done is use the analogy, the illustration of a assembly line factory to manufacture these clients and just pump them out in a systematic fashion. So my first step is design your customer, and that means target marketing, creating your prime client profile, as I would call it, or as Russell would say, who's the fish that you're trying to catch? I cannot overstate the importance of target marketing. I had a friend who many years ago opened a real estate office, a retail real estate office in a tourist location here in the DC area. And I recommended to him that he establish his brand as the real estate expert for that tourist location. But he was very concerned that, oh, well, if people think that's all we do, then they won't come to us for any of their other real estate needs for any other locations where they might buy or sell property. But luckily, he came around to the idea and understood the power of focus and the power of single-mindedness. This quotation is attributed to Abraham Lincoln, but many people say he never said it. Whether he did or he didn't, somebody said, I don't know what the secret to success is, but the secret to failure is trying to please everyone. And we all know if you try to be everything to everybody, you'll end up being nothing to anyone. So it's very important that you get very specific and niche down in terms of who your target market is. And this is something that Russell and I are in agreement in. Now, his second step was, where are you going to find these people? My second step is pick your process. And by that, I mean, are you going to use an internet marketing process? You're going to be a retailer, a wholesaler? Are you going to have a direct sales force? Are you going to use direct response marketing? What are you going to do? And looking at Russell's, I skipped a step here. I wanted to talk about this before I went on to the next step. Let me just jump back real quickly. On the design your customer and talking about how important it is to be very specific with your target market, Russell has gotten so specific that he actually created a male and female avatar of the people he is trying to reach. And he has had so much success with this that even though he's clearly not targeting a lot of people who are older or younger than Julie, who may or may not have a message to share, by only focusing on Julie and Mike, as you'll see Mike in a moment, he has more business than he could ever possibly hope to handle. And the same thing is true for everyone. So this is his female avatar. I won't go through all the details. They're right there in front of you. This is Russell's male prospect avatar. And as he shared this information in the video training that I was watching, it was a videotape of a live event that he produced. And he said, as he showed these two avatars, how many of you ladies in the audience match Julie's avatar? The vast majority of the women raised their hand. And how many of you men out there are former athletes? Virtually all the men raised their hand. It turns out Russell's a former athlete also. The clarity and the power of focus is very important. It's something for you to make sure you understand, especially if you want to understand and implement Russell Brunson's secret formula. Is the very first thing you've got to focus on is, who is my target market? You create your product to solve a problem for that target market. You send out your messages and your advertising into ponds where you'll find fish that match that target market profile and so forth. If you ever have a feeling, oh man, I'm going to leave money on the table if I focus too much of my marketing efforts, you've got to remember that's a huge mistake. Successful marketers like Russell Brunson target. Now, coming back to the customer factory marketing model, the second step is pick your process. And again, by that I mean, is this going to be direct response marketing? Going to have a direct sales force? Are you a contractor? Are you a wholesaler? You're a retailer? In our case here, you are an internet marketer. And this is where we take a look at this process here, Russell Brunson's value ladder. The value ladder can be used in both online and offline businesses. And I spent a lot of time talking about and explaining the value ladder in last week's meeting. If you missed that, I highly recommend you go back and take a look at that, because I don't want to spend too much time here on the value ladder. But the main idea is this. You start the person at the prospect at the very low end of both price and value, and get them to raise their hand and say, yes, I am a good prospect for whatever the value proposition is that you're offering, whatever the information product is. If it's the Bosley Hair Club for men, my hair is falling out. If it's the Sunsetter awning, the backside of my house faces south or faces west, and the sun beats down on us out there, and we need the Sunsetter. And so the Sunsetter is a great example, because you would not request the information for the Sunsetter awning if you didn't have a need of it, if you didn't own your home, have a backyard with a patio, and you were having a problem with the sun beating down on you. So when you request information from the Sunsetter Awning, right away they know that you're an excellent prospect for them. The first thing that they will send you is our free DVD and 24-page color catalog that describes exactly how the Sunsetter Awning system is worked for thousands of people across the country, and it will do the same for you. And Russell does the same thing. But what he does in his process is he rapidly moves you up the ladder to beyond the free information to items that are deeply discounted, but nonetheless require you to break out your credit card. And so as he does this, your first step, as you gave us your contact information, your name, your email address, in the case of the Sunsetter, you gave us your mailing address and your property address, you qualified yourself as a prospect. But when you whip out that that credit card, and you actually pay $9.95 or any figure over zero, you have now qualified yourself as a buyer, as Russell would say. And then as he upsells you to something even more expensive, perhaps $97 or $197 or $497, if you purchase that, then you've also qualified yourself as what he would call a hyperactive buyer. And then in his future marketing to whoever signs up here, he will market to the prospects differently than he markets to the buyers, than he markets to the hyperactive buyers. And he can make money off of all of them, but he speaks to them in different ways because they're each in a different mindset. Now, this is a process that I have called the marketing assembly line. Many other people refer to it as the customer life cycle. And this is where you start out by taking somebody who's a complete stranger to you and you to them, and you take them down the merry path of the marketing assembly line, from stranger to suspect to prospect to customer to client. And as a result, they started out by saying, I've never met you. I have nothing but suspicion for you, Mr. Marketing Person, is where they begin on the left side. And by the time they're done, not only have they purchased once, which is what a customer does, a customer is a one-time, first-time buyer, but they also become a source of repeat and referral business, which is the differentiation of a client from a customer. And this is a model that I have used many times in my teaching, and you will find it in my Customer Factory course online. In Russell's case, it's a similar idea, but he accelerates the process. And in my process, I liken it to courting, a courtship between you and the customer. And I use the example of a man going into let's say a singles bar trying to find a date. And he cannot go all the way from the girl's never met him before to, she's going to marry him in 5 minutes. It's a process that's required and communications that are required over time for him to get from one step to the next. But one of the things that I like about Russell's approach and many successful internet marketers' approach is he dispenses with all that nonsense, all that politeness and all that. No, we're going to take you straight to $497 in about 4 or 5 minutes, right in our first interaction on the web. But we're going to do it in a systematic, logical fashion that causes many, many people to go ahead and buy the upsell to $97 and the upsell to $497. But once he gets to a certain point, generally about the third step, he will stop trying to advance himself with the prospect in that location, in that interaction, in that transaction, right that moment on the web. And he will save his future sales communications with them for a different environment, what he calls a different sales environment. And if you see that dollar bill or the dollar sign inside the starburst at the top of the value ladder, that's the mountaintop where he's taking the fish. That's where he's going to take them all the way to the very limit of what they're looking to do with their lives, or looking to improve in their business, and the limit of how much he can charge them for an extraordinary experience and benefit that he can provide to them. So, having looked at all that, let's come back to Russell's secret formula here. And I want you to think this through from standpoint of your business. Who are you trying to target? And if you, again, you can't say, oh, well, my business is great for anybody. Well, again, if you try to be all things to all people, you'll be nothing to anyone. I often use the example of a software company that has an appointment setting program, and this appointment setting program will work for doctors and chiropractors and dentists and nail salons and tanning salons and personal trainers. It'll work for just about anybody who takes appointments. The problem is you cannot sell that software to all those different groups simultaneously. At least you can't successfully. You need to target each of them individually. And if you truly do have a product that can bring value to a wide variety of target markets, such as I've just described, what you have to do is make a decision. You may be right, you may be wrong, but you will make a decision. Who represents the lowest hanging fruit? Which one of those groups do you think you can profit from most rapidly? And then create your marketing program to target those people first. And once you have what I would call your marketing assembly line, your customer factory up and running and generating customers on a 24/7 basis, then you can create a new customer factory to target the next group of people. But you've got to get specific. So sit down, maybe you got a pen and paper in front of you, write down who is your prime client profile. Who is it that you're trying to target? Then the next step in Russell's secret formula is, where are you going to find those people? This is not so much where do they congregate as with fish in a pond, but where are their eyeballs located these days as far as staring at a screen? And it's important that you realize that a computer screen is not the be all and the end all anymore. In fact, it's pretty clear now that over 50% of all internet interactions are occurring on mobile devices, whether they be smartphones, tablets, or so forth. So you need to make sure that where you're targeting them, where you're trying to fish, is where those fish are at, where those fish are looking. And then in terms of the bait, it's got to be extremely valuable. Everybody is busy today, and their most valuable resource is their time and attention. If you don't have something just fantastic for them to engage with, or at least make it sound like it's fantastic when they make the decision to sign up for it, they're not going to sign up. They're not going to give you their time and attention, and they're certainly not going to give you their first name and their email address. Way back in the 90s when email marketing first launched and everybody had an email newsletter, all you had to do was say, sign up for my newsletter, and a lot of people would. Well, today people don't want the newsletter. They'll do whatever they can to keep from receiving your newsletter. So now you have to give them something very valuable, very powerful in terms of the bait of a white paper, an MP3 file, instant access to a video, free training, what have you. Each of these things, we could spend hours talking about exactly how to create that. Today, we're just talking about the overview of the secret formula. And then finally, this idea that Russell had of where are you trying to take these people? And of course, where you should be trying to take them is exactly where they want to go. What is the mountaintop that people are trying to reach? I'm working with a real estate company right now, and if I've just launched my first real live, honest to goodness ClickFunnels funnel that's running to support this real estate program. And the example I will give you there is what we're trying to do is help owners of rental properties, landlords, to have a much easier go of it. Being a landlord is not an easy way to go. There's a lot of problems that owning rental property brings into the life of that owner. And I'm working with a real estate company that has an incredible system that makes the lives of landlords a lot easier. In fact, it is so powerful and so effective that the biggest problem I have as a marketer is convincing people that this thing is for real. Constantly, the question I hear is, okay, what's the catch? What's the catch? And that's because it's seemingly too good to be true. What's too good to be true? The mountaintop that they can ascend to if they engage with this company's offering. So it's very clear with the real estate company who we're targeting, where we can find them. I've got the bait all in place. I'll show you that in a future meeting, in a future hangout. We've got all these things in place, and it's also clear where we're taking them. So if you haven't thought all these things through, I encourage you to do that. If all of this seems like second nature to you, I encourage you to take a second look at it and sign up for ClickFunnels and take a look at Russell's video training. And I'm telling you, I have been looking into this type of stuff and doing marketing for a long, long time. And until I came across Russell Brunson, his .com secrets and ClickFunnels and all of his training and resources, I didn't really have the level of understanding that I do now. And so that's why I'm doing these Hangouts, to share what I've learned. And that's why I'm encouraging everybody within the sound of my voice to engage with Russell and get his training and sign up for ClickFunnels and put it to work for your business. So that's what I've got for everybody this evening. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get back to you. Here we go. I encourage you to email me any questions to frankfelker@gmail.com, or look for DC Funnel Hackers on Facebook. Actually, I don't think you'll be able to see it because it's a secret group. We only let it's a secret group. That's what Facebook calls it, but we keep it to the messaging and so forth that goes back and forth just among the members. So if you'd like to become a member of that group, you don't have to live in DC, and you don't even have to currently be using ClickFunnels or be any sort of a funnel hacker. If you're just interested in this kind of thing, send me an email or friend me, Frank Felker, on Facebook, and then private message me and let me know you want to be a member of the DC Funnel Hackers, and we'll take it from there. In the meantime, I want to let you know that every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, there is a DC Funnel Hackers hangout like this. And if there's a particular topic that you would like for me to cover next go around, let me know and I will put it in there. Otherwise, I'm just going to make it up on my own. I'll be taking little bits and pieces of either the training that Russell offers or features of ClickFunnels to bring out as what I'm going to talk about each week and put it in each week's agenda. So until that happens, I appreciate your time and attention, and I encourage you to go out there and hack some funnels.